The Packers are in the playoff hunt, Jordan. You are pretty steadfastly sure that they're going to make it.
Me?
Yeah, you said today in the GSPN group chat.
I think it's not only that we are in the hunt. You see any corners around? Have you seen them?
Any corners?
Yeah. Do you see any corners? Not position,
I see
because
a few corners around my house, I suppose.
if
I
you
see
see
it.
that corner right after it, the Packers are standing right there. They turned the corner.
They turn the corner.
That's where
I
I believe we are.
got it. Um, you had me in a hell prison with that, dude. I was lost in the sauce, trying to figure out where you were going with that. I was trying to find what you had said today that you guarantee it, but I'm not going to go back that far. But regardless, you're pretty adamant that they've turned the corner. Packers playoff odds as of this week is 50% going into the game with the Chiefs. That's according to the New York Times' playoff picture odds calculator. If you factor in a win over the Chiefs this Sunday night, those playoff odds rise to 70%. I gotta think for a second. If they lose, drop down to 45%. So a loss doesn't even take them out of the race that much. You had said pre-pod that there is a machination, as if I'm pronouncing that word correctly.
Yes, sir.
Learned a new word today, listeners. That so long as the Packers go 4-2 or 5-1, the biggest game that they have to win is the Vikings game coming up. I think in 3 weeks.
Week 17.
Weeks. Oh, so it is the second to last game. Yeah, because it's New Year's Eve, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, because
Or I'm sorry, not
play the
yeah. Yes, because Christmas Eve they play the Panthers. New Year's Eve they play the Vikings. So, I mean, we talked about it. We could probably eat crow a whole lot on this pod if they make it. Talking about how they're a bad team. We're playing for a good draft pick, and it sure as hell looked like it earlier in the season. But I mean, kudos to them. They've fought back, and due to the NFC just being not good this year, the Packers could very well sneak in as that 6th or 7th playoff team at 9-8 or 10-6, or well, not 10-6. Have to win out to go 10-6, but or I'm sorry, 11-6. So I don't know. Like, I'm not optimistic that they're going to make it because I don't want to get my hopes up that what we've seen against the Chargers and Lions is who they are now, especially given injuries, as well as that win against the Chargers probably should have been a win in the first place. And I'm curious as to if they can replicate the intensity they play with against the Lions. Because, like, if they had actually, like, really won that Chargers game, rather than the Chargers had lost it, I'd be more confident. But the Mike Williams drop at the end of the game,
Quentin Johnson.
Yep, my apologies. The Quentin Johnson drop at the end of the game, the Keenan Allen drop touchdown, the other Keenan Allen drop touchdown, the drop on the first drive for them, like, there was a lot of factors going against Justin Herbert going out and winning that game for them. And so I'm more curious as to how that plays out the rest of the year. That's the thing, is that we don't play good teams the rest of the year besides the Chiefs and the Vikings with Josh Dobbs or whoever they're going to...
Jaron Hall.
Yeah, or whoever they're going to start. Nick Mullins, I think, is maybe also there.
I think he's in the mix if he's healthy.
So there is a chance that they just beat up on these mid to low tier teams and make a playoff push. But I don't want to give the whole team the benefit of the doubt that they won't have slip-ups that made that 4-game losing streak abysmal to go through. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think everything that you're saying is valid because weirdly enough, we have arrived to the place that we all expected to be in. It's just the fact that they were uh
2-6
two and
or two
five
and five, yeah.
before winning three of their last four.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that the pattern that they have fallen into is playing these games, get close games. Offense hasn't been working, or clicking on all cylinders for the majority of every game this year. And then you find yourself in a one score game. You're playing for the game late. That kind of rhythm. Whereas the Lions game is the outlier.
Mm-hmm.
And do I expect them to play like that all the time? No, I frankly I think that I would be shocked if we see another level of complete performance like that or kind of definitive way of winning. However, I do think that they have built up enough kind of. We are seeing strides offensively. Whether we think the defense is doing what they're doing to their potential, even with all the injuries that they've had, and granted that they traded their most healthy corner um, midway through the year. Their best corner
Mm-hmm.
has been hurt for increasingly this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's still working
Yeah.
by the grace of Joe Barry. But I do think we're starting to see the consistency that we have really just tried to cling to. And yeah, again, the benefit of the doubt still has to be earned on whether they can how they respond the rest of the way is going to be very indicative of how they build this team towards the future. But the bigger questions are starting to get answered, at least with Jordan Love, at least with the wide receiving core and how we talked about, they don't have a veteran wide receiver. They didn't give Jordan Love the support that he needed to get. It's just the symbiosis between that, and then the offensive line starts playing better. They start getting healthier. Defense starts, at least in Lions game, they start literally disrupting, getting after the quarterback and making game changing plays that way. I think that's why I'm leaning towards. And granted, too, like again, have talked about this schedule being super easy. It's getting easier by the day based on the teams that are left standing. The Carolina
Right.
Panthers just fired their coach.
Yeah.
The Giants are a tire fire. Their starting quarterback right now might actually be better than the quarterback that they gave a lot of money to.
Yeah.
Um, not hyperbole.
No, it's not
It's just
hyperbole at all. Like Tommy Beal played well. Um, when was that? Last Sunday. They didn't play. They didn't play on Thanksgiving. No, they didn't.
no, thank God.
Yeah. So, but no, the Giants are playing fine, but
Yeah,
they're they're kind of a big question mark. I think you put it pretty plainly that yeah, as the days go by, they are getting an easier schedule. I just am fearful that the mental errors and the penalties and the lack of execution on offense is here to stay. Like
yeah,
it's a lot of the penalties and the mental execution part of it. Like you at the end of the day, you still have a rookie in Jaden Reed, second year guys in Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, Aaron Jones hasn't been around. Like it's AJ Dillon might play. He was back at practice today on Thursday. So the running back room is still a big question mark. There's just a lot of question marks on offense that I'm concerned about. The defense I can get on board with playing as so long as they play well and play like they have played the last few weeks, right?
hmm
But I think it's just the offense is my biggest question mark, and how much can we actually rely on the down roster guys in the specialists parts on offense to really continue to make big impacts, like Dontayvion Wicks, Malik Heath, Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft are all going to need to step up in on offense for this team to make a push,
yeah,
and I think like their three away games are, or I guess the Vikings game in Minnesota is always hard. It's always hard to go into US Bank and win. Like it's hard.
yeah.
I don't think Rodgers did it a whole bunch. Like I remember quite a number of losses for Rodgers at US Bank. But then they have the benefit of playing 3 games at home and 3 games away. They play at home against the Chiefs, the Bucks, and the Bears on the season, and then they're away at MetLife, and then they're away at Carolina, Minnesota. So knock on every bit of wood you see around your life for the next month, or next, I'm sorry, 2 weeks, to make sure that MetLife doesn't claim another Achilles, because it's been doing it.
Yeah.
So if we can get out of MetLife alive and uninjured, I'd be very happy. But at the end of the day, I'm just skeptical that it's here to stay. I will very happy eat crow if they make the playoffs and say that they finally turned it around and they got their legs under them and played well. But they've learned how to, I think, win close games, or maybe, I guess, maybe not have learned. They're still kind of getting there, but they're playing better in close games, I should say. So
I
we'll
believe the Packers are 2-5 since
U.S. Bank got
the
built.
yes.
Yeah, but it's a hard place to play. It just is.
Mhm.
And Vikings fans get up for the Packers game every time because they hate the Packers, and justifiably so.
Yes.
So, listen, I'll be ecstatic if they make the playoffs. I think it'd be a really good experience for a lot of the players to make the playoffs on this team, specifically Jordan Love and a lot of the specialists. But all the young guys seeing that they can do this and they can win this way would be great for this team. And I think it would say a lot about how last year went and how it ended if they can do it again this year, but this time get in.
I would. That's the thing, is that it's a much more enjoyable experience being in the stretch of. It doesn't feel like they were trying to save their season last year.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, it felt like last year they were trying to save their season based on how far they had fallen. This year, it's like it's more understandable why the Packers fell in the hole, and then now they're digging themselves out of it, and it's a lot more refreshing and reassuring to see that not everything has gone against their way, and that there is something being built right now.
Yeah, it's all about expectations, and so I expect them to play well down this stretch, but I don't expect them to play well enough to make it in at this point. If they come out on Sunday and beat the Chiefs, like, I'll buy in. I'll really buy into them making it in and making and possibly winning a game. But for now, hesitantly optimistic.